Hi there, and welcome to the Tap Into It podcast, where each week I have the sincere pleasure of interviewing a wellness professional local to Colorado, operating in their area of genius. And today is no exception. Molly Adkins, thank you for being here at the Sound Maven, and she has earned that title. I'm so grateful that you had the time and space to connect and come here today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Molly has been involved with a passion project, Conscious Colorado Collective,
Yes.
for pretty much from the beginning.
Yep.
And she was a huge support in the online community, bringing sessions that are now in the vault for folks who choose to take advantage of those. And she's just an amazing sound healer, teacher, and presence, and I'm just really grateful that you're here and I get to know you.
I'm glad to get to know you too.
Thank you. Yes, and I know that you have such a rich history, and we've talked a little bit offline about where to begin, where to dive in, and that's a tricky thing, isn't it? Especially when you've lived how many lifetimes in this one?
Right. I've had several lives in this one, for sure.
Yeah. Talking about your rotations from growing up in the Midwest,
Yes,
and then you attended CU.
I did. Yeah, I was kind of on a whim how I do a lot of the things that how I jump into a lot of the things that I've done. I grew up in Indiana and had come out to visit a friend here in Colorado, and I was just like, I'm going to go to CU. Walked into the admissions room and said, I want to come here. And they're like, sure. I don't know if it was that easy, but that's the way I remember it. I went home, told my mom, packed up my car, drove across the country, which seems to be a theme in my life, is to just pack up and go. And so was out here for 4 years in my undergrad and studying voice, Italian opera or Italian aria in particular. Yeah, kind of crazy to think I was on that path.
I could see it. I just regret that there weren't like the big costumes to boot and to get to see you in that getup. Was that a thing?
Not for me. Not for me.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah.
But your voice training took you on another journey once you were completed at CU, right?
Yes. So it was when I was at CU, I was also interested in Japanese culture. And not really sure where that came from, except for I know for myself that I like to do things that other people are not doing, which is also a theme in my life. I was taking Japanese language classes, Japanese literature, culture classes, along with all of my music curriculum. And I had a Japanese teacher who introduced a program where you could go to Japan and teach English. And I was like, I'm going to apply for that.
Yeah.
And so I did. And next thing I knew, after graduation in August, after I graduated that fall, I was on a plane to Japan and was teaching English in the middle schools there. And
Like Tokyo area?
I was in what they call Inaka, the countryside.
Oh, where the monkeys are. And
Yes, actually, yes. There were some great places, hiking areas, onsen, outdoor natural onsen that you can go in and get in with the monkeys. And yeah, oh my gosh, so many memories. Yeah, and then so while I was there, I was also started to study Japanese music, traditional music, not the more modern, but really very traditional music. And I did different instruments, shamisen, koto, drumming, the taiko. But my real instrument that I love is the voice. I was teaching a class at a lifelong learning center, and I just randomly said one day in a class, boy, I'd really like to learn Japanese folk song. Had no idea what was coming out of my mouth. The next week, one of the students came and said, I found you a teacher. He lives just down the road from you. I was like, okay.
Wow.
He's like, you need to be there on Tuesday at 8 o'clock or whatever it was. I showed up and knocked on the door, very traditional. I didn't speak very much Japanese yet at that time. He didn't speak any English, but he invited me in, and we started these very traditional style of music voice lessons where it's all rote memorization.
Whoa.
And
oh, wow.
yeah, so just he sang a line, I sang it back. He's like, no, that's wrong. And he sang it again and went back and forth. Some songs would take me a year to grasp. Some were a lot shorter, shorter meaning shorter to memorize. But yeah, so it was just this process of this very traditional, like really immersed myself in the culture. And that's when I got really involved with the Japanese folk song. And my teacher took me under his wing, like, I don't know, he was like my dad in a way, and he would take me around to all of his lessons after a while.
Wow.
They have in Japanese, there's an expression called kaban mochi, which means bag carrier, I guess. And so he would call me up sometime. He's like, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15. And we're like, where are we going? He's like, just be ready. So
no time.
Right. My job was to help him with his bags and the instruments so that he could teach. And so I would participate in a lot of the group lessons with him and get to know the other people that were also taking lessons. I was doing private, but I started taking these group lessons. And I was in my 20s at that time. And the average age, I'd say 55 to 65, around that age. It's Japanese traditional folk song appeals to the older generation as opposed to the younger generation. Though there's starting to be some fusion right now, so it's getting a little bit more popular with the younger generations. But yeah, so that was like, I had to reach out to them. I mean, it had to be me learn how to speak in Japanese and how to learn their customs.
Absolutely.
So that they would accept me into the group too. At least that was my goal, was that I wanted to be part of the group. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the respect and the reverence that you would have had to just demonstrate, right? Every time that you met with your teacher to get that level of confidence says something about your character. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you make fast friends with a couple of the people as you're bouncing around?
It was interesting because they were older. It wasn't, I mean, we're friends, like we didn't really go out and do things together, but everybody was very kind. Yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful community. Yeah.
Wow.
And they were always very supportive and helped me with my kimono at the beginning until I learned how to put on my own. And it was really nice. They were always making sure I knew where to go and how to stand. And
yes. Yes, I can imagine all of the different things, thinking about it posturally and otherwise while you're actually performing different instruments.
Very, very different from the opera that I sang. So the vocal timbre, vocal techniques are just maybe as far as you can get from each other. And so I spent a lot of time, of course, retraining my voice.
I could see that.
Retraining my voice. So from the Western perspective, when I was learning Western music or Italian art, there was one way to sing, and if you don't sing it that way, then you're going to ruin your voice, was the message that I got.
Wow.
But then when I started Japanese folk song, I'm like, okay, if I sing this music like I'm singing arias, Italian, then it doesn't sound authentic.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of imposing this Western style of singing onto the Japanese folk song, I retrained my voice.
Wow.
It was a lot of muscle training and just figuring it out, really.
I bet, structurally,
Yes. So, so it was really interesting. I loved that time.
And that was your master's that you were working on there, is that correct?
Yes. So I eventually, about my 5th year I was in Japan 11 years total.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's a while.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be there 1 or 2 years. I was like, I'm just going to go for fun and then come back. And then it was just like, I just got deeper and deeper and deeper into it. It was my 5th year in Japan. That was kind of my peak. Not that it went down on the other side,
Sure.
but it was, I hit a lot of milestones that year.
Okay.
And one was I took the Japanese language proficiency test. That is,
Big deal.
if you're going to get into a Japanese university,
Yeah.
you have to pass level 1. So I passed level 1 that year, which means I'm fluent in Japanese.
Yeah.
Maybe. And that was a lot of fun because, I mean, fun meaning, yeah, I guess it was
Work.
fun. It was hard. It was hard work. I remember going in to take the test. And I'm like one of the only Asian in the room.
Sure.
So most of the other students or people who were taking the test were from cultures that had languages that were similar to Japanese.
Makes sense.
Right. So English is like one of the farthest from the Japanese language that you
Yes.
can get. So anyway, I passed that test. I also was in a variety of competitions for Japanese folk song and
Yes.
started moving up the ranks. So it starts locally and then regional and goes up. And I did get into national competition. I was only one of 10
That's a
that
big
got into
deal.
it.
I know it's a big deal.
I didn't place, which I was a little disappointed, but I was still excited to be one of the 10 that made it that
Absolutely.
high. And again, the only non-Japanese that was in the room.
Well, let's definitely
Yeah.
talk about what a big deal that is, though, because I don't think people understand that there are families traditionally who handpicked their children
Yes.
to go on this route and
Yes.
to be national and to be kind of the treasures of the country, right?
Right.
So to
yes.
say that you went there, and I would say you would have had to pour your heart, soul, outside of and including blood, sweat, and tears just to be considered. So sincerely, bravo. That's a lifetime achievement. That's huge. And I just want
Yeah.
people to understand that since we don't do that in our country
Right.
outside of a commercialized way, right?
Right.
That it's a big deal to be noticed. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you shared with me privately, so I have kind of a cheat code here, that it was during this time that you used your dissertation to make a point, right?
Yes, exactly. So that same year, that same 5th year that I was accepted into the Tokyo National University of Fine Arts and Music, which if you're making a comparison to a university here in the United States, it'd be like the Indiana School of Music, Indiana University School of Music, or Juilliard. It's that rank
Yeah.
of universities. So I was accepted into the university as a master's student. I also got a scholarship, if I'm allowed to say that, a full ride
Wow.
scholarship from the Japanese Ministry of Education to study, to research music, Japanese music.
Molly.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's a big deal.
So while I was there, my thesis topic was bimusicality. I was researching the concept of, can one person sing very different types of music and create these very different timbres, and this melismatic way of creating sound, and the melody line is very different on how you do that, how you manipulate your throat to the inside of your mouth to do that. So I used myself as the case study, and I was practicing Italian aria again and retraining my voice because I had gone so far into Japanese folk song that I had lost that style. So I had to go back, retrain my voice again, and then I was simultaneously practicing both styles and seeing what I could do with it. And it was interesting. I mean, it was really interesting to see, because I did get sore and tired. My voice would get rough.
I
And
wondered, your vocal
yeah.
cords going in
Yeah.
such different directions.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch that transformation on myself.
I bet.
Yeah, so part of the research was to compare how I hold the inside of my mouth and the larynx and pharynx and everything inside the vocal cords. And so I took a video of the inside of my mouth and how it's moving when I'm singing.
Neat.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so camera down inside the back of my throat.
What?
Yes.
I need to see this. Does it still exist somewhere?
It does.
Wonderful.
So that's when I did my research on and wrote my master's thesis, was about this journey with learning these two different styles of music, and is that possible for one person to sing these two different styles without them influencing one another?
That's the trick, right?
Right. So if you think even about bilinguality of one person speaking two different languages, right? So are they able to produce the sounds? Like there's different consonants and different vowel sounds, right? In different languages. There's some latent sounds in Japanese that we don't have in English, and definitely vice versa.
Yes.
Right? So can this one person create all of those sounds and not have them influence each other? So does she have an accent, right, is where it comes down to. So so the end of the day with the research was, yes, technically it is possible. It's just
so
really
important too, because I would say that in today's society here in America, but across the globe, parents are hip to the idea that their kiddos might need a say in what they're being trained in and what they're dedicating their time to, but we don't always know what that is. And so to know that there is a way to go from classical training in the only extremes really that I can discern is, wow, that's a gift too in your dissertation work, to let other people know, hey, you might have put yourself in this box, but did you?
Did
I kind of
you?
love that.
Yeah, so from my experience in Japan with, of course, Japanese traditional folk song, but then also while I was doing the research as part of the curriculum for my master's, studying a variety of world musics.
Wow.
Right? Researching a variety of music, not just Japanese music and Western music. That's not exactly the right Western and Japanese. It should be Eastern and Western. But so today, as a sound healing practitioner, then I'm bringing in that knowledge and that background that I have one-on-one, like hands-on understanding of different musics. Because while I was in Japan, I traveled from Japan to other Asian countries, and did a little bit of research and working with other musicians in different cultures. So like in Indonesia.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I saw the kraton. I'm like,
Yes. So Indonesia and India, as well as China, right? And so, and Korea, of course, as well. So,
wow.
And lots of hands-on experience with these different cultures. And now I bring that into my sound healing sessions.
I wish that I knew what instrument I can literally hear. It was probably in Karate Kid, because this is the extent of my training. It is anyway, it is not important, but it sets a tone. I think there's different emotions in these different areas in the world that offer insight into music and how it's been utilized, right?
Yes.
To set the tone from a tribal standpoint.
Yes.
From Viking sounding the horn to that small, still string that I keep hearing in the back of my mind, right? That just sets the tone for, we're doing things in here and they matter. And my question to you is, do you have, outside of being the sound practitioner, do you have a favorite instrument that is not a Western typical that you enjoy playing?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
When you said favorite instrument, I'm going to say, well, voice, of course.
Sure.
But you're thinking
I'm thinking tactile. Yeah.
I would say the shamisen, which is probably the one that you're referring to. It looks like a little banjo. It has 3 strings. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. I love that instrument so much.
I think it has a voice all of its own,
It
right?
does.
And I know that they all do, but that one specifically, it just right to the soul.
Yes.
Level.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that with me. It was just a curious thing in the back of my mind. And my gosh, you could have taken all of those skills alone and brought them to the masses and done something with that. But like so many others that I'm gravitated towards. You're a serial educator, right? You
Yes.
decide to continue to learn more other different things to add to your repertoire, and that didn't stop after your master's, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did bring you back to the States? You finished your master's, you're enjoying Japan.
Right.
You hit the peak, you're still enjoying the valley, but what was it that said, all right, we're going back?
It was an interesting point in that, of course I have to renew my visa every year.
Oh.
And so there's like, okay, how can I renew my visa? Should I renew my visa? Is it time just to go back home? And there were a lot of factors in that. And I had decided that I wanted to continue my education back in the United States.
Okay.
And I also had a family at that time. I'd married a gentleman from South Korea. We had our first baby. She was 6 weeks old when we moved back to the United States.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And that was also another one of those moves, just like in my college days where I just packed up my car and left. And this is again, Japan, just packed up and came to the States without knowing what was on the other side, what was going to be here. Because for me, I felt very empowered. Like, I know a second language. I have all this cultural experience. I'm going to go do this and that. And got here and went, oh, I don't know anybody. And how do I get into this culture? Like, the interesting thing is that when I had left the United States the first time, I was fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd never lived in the United States as a full adult.
Sure.
So coming back to the States as a full adult with a spouse who didn't speak English and an infant.
Oh my goodness.
And trying to figure out how to do anything, really. How do you rent an apartment? Oh, I've got to set up my electricity and my telephone and all this stuff. So it was a huge transition, and trying to navigate having a family, trying to figure out where I fit back in the United States, a lot of culture shock.
I bet.
Thinking back, I remember thinking like, oh, why do people do things like that here, after being in Japan for so long? That transition was tough, and looking back, made lots of life-changing choices too at that time. I wanted to continue studying and do my doctorate. I made a different choice, and I'm happy I did. I think it was the best choice for me looking back on it. I was actually contacted by the neighborhood high school principal who asked, she's like, I hear you speak Japanese and have some teaching experience. Would you like to come teach Japanese? We have an extra class. And it was like, it's funny because I look back and there were so many things in my life where it's just like people reaching out going, we hear that you do this. Can you?
Very neat.
So I love it when those doors open.
Yeah.
And that is a big part of my journey to where I am now, is just following those doors without thinking I can't say I didn't think too hard about it. I thought a lot about it, a lot of fear coming up in lots of different ways. But yeah, I took this Japanese teaching position at the the town high school, and ended up staying there teaching high school Japanese for 20 years.
Wow.
20 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And so I was also teaching English when I was in Japan.
Yeah.
But totally different. Again, totally different. And while I was teaching, I was continuing to do a little bit of music. Okay. Still, I would do some, I call them lecture performances. So I'd go to universities or Japanese folk festivals that were in the United States, and would introduce Japanese folk song from a researcher's standpoint, but then also be able to perform because I had done all the work on that side too. So
Thank you.
it was really cool to be able to talk about it as a researcher and then also to
Yeah.
be able to do the
Did you hear
techniques
that,
as well.
Colorado College?
Yes.
Fine arts community, just say,
Yeah.
no, that is a gift because,
Yes.
to your point, you could bring in a lecturer
Yeah.
from just about anyone on any topic, but to
Yes.
bring the experience with it
Yes.
is just something a bit more special, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To feel it, to witness the technique,
Yes.
which, to your point about the differences in culture, isn't something that we so much appreciate here, right? And having come from a background that was rich in the details,
Yes.
it would be quite a shift, especially into high school.
Yes. Yes. And talking about the technique, of course, but then also a lot of the songs are for Japanese folk song. There's only 3 types of songs. There's festival songs, work songs, and songs that are sung on pilgrimages.
Oh.
So more that religious side. So
Yeah.
there are these 3 big categories. So work songs, for example, singing about planting rice and singing about fishing on a big boat and the things that in Japan I got to see.
Sure.
Even though I didn't go out and actually plant rice, I got to see it and experience being in that community.
Yes.
So I think that's also a huge point to be able to bring in that feeling
Yes.
behind it.
Evoking that emotion.
Evoking the emotion, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk to me about authenticity.
Sure.
And I think that's a big piece because, you know, if you had a choice of hiring a Japanese person who has never ever sang Japanese folk song, or me who has done the work with the culture and the language and study, but I don't look Japanese, who's more authentic?
Yeah.
Right? There's no answer to the question.
I get it.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's just a really interesting piece.
It's a balance.
Right.
It is an interesting balance, and I think that you have the reverence, though, that folks have to emit, if you will,
Yeah.
in order to be able to come into those gifts and to even be able to strip away all of the societal constructs and get down to exactly what you're saying is the essence of the craft and of what is being done. And that is, in my opinion, you would be the more authentic choice because you would have held that art with reverence and care and technique. And I'm sure that, I won't speak for all of Japan, but I'm sure that a student would be honored to study under you, knowing that you took the time to find somebody within your village that was the right guy, it sounds like, to
Yes.
connect you into these
Yes.
techniques and training. So
Yes.
I think that's what a beautiful gift. And it's a
Thank you.
preservation of that history.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it is.
And in a way that's not so easy. I can only imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I also think about that now as a sound healing practitioner and when I'm using these instruments and these vocal techniques, because I also use my voice in a variety of ways to evoke emotion. But the instruments too, the Tibetan or Himalayan singing bowls, right? How are we treating these bowls and how are we using them in the sound healing sessions? They're not just another instrument that's gonna, yeah, of course there's the technique and the science behind it, like, okay, if you play these 2 intervals together, you're gonna create this type of benefit or result for your client.
Yeah.
There's that part you can learn, but there's also that, as you said, that reverence for the culture, that reverence for the instrument itself and where it came from, right?
Yes.
So not only is the Tibetan singing bowls are gongs, right?
Yeah.
And then there's tuning forks and crystal singing bowls, which are much more modern.
Yeah.
Very modern.
Yeah.
Comparatively. And and then rhythms, like on frame drums. I'm
Yeah.
using rhythms that you might hear in, say, like a powwow or these types of
Journey music, maybe.
yes, shamanic style. So then having that yes, that emotion or that reverence for the different techniques that you're using.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important part of sound healing sessions and presenting, how to present the different instruments and the different sounds and how you can make different sounds for certain outcomes and to bring in, whether it's relaxation or a release, or to bring someone that might have had a release, how to bring them back into balance, and using all of these instruments in this very aware style.
Yes.
Not
And
just
it's not so technical, is it, when you're a sound practitioner? But I did just see you as a surgeon with all of these tools in your tool belt, which, to be fair, as somebody who has been oblivious in the best way to what I'm going to get during a sound healing experience, I don't have many measuring sticks because, firstly, I'm discerning, and I've only ever been in yours, but I have heard the difference in practitioners who have the awareness of this is the tool for this group dynamic that I'm experiencing. And I love, what was the word you said for a bag carrier?
Kabamochi.
So you need a kabamochi because you have all the things and you do show up with the gamut. And I was like, this can't be for show. She's a very practical woman. What is this about? But what I recognize through what you're saying is that you're just not quite sure possibly which tool will serve best in that day, in that moment, in that period of resonance, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there is a 10-step process that I use.
Thank you for bringing it home for me.
So
Yeah.
there is a process, but in, say, step number 5, I can use all of these different instruments with these different mallets or these different ways. So whatever that step is, there's a variety of ways to evoke whatever that is, like relaxation, for example. I can use gongs, I can use crystal singing bowls, I can use whatever voice it might be, different ways to bring in relaxation. So that part is the technical side. Like, I'm thinking all the way through my sessions, I'm thinking about, okay, what is the intention of the session? Why are we here? What is the theme of the session? Right? I'll play very differently if it's a session that's based solely on relaxation, as opposed to bringing in abundance, because you also have to release some things if you're going to bring in abundance, right?
That's right.
So depending on the theme or the intention, then I would bring in different instruments and different techniques. And also, at the same time that you are alluding to, is thinking about, I'm also tapping into my intuition.
Absolutely.
Tapping into the messages that I'm getting, right? Okay, all right, this is what I planned, right? Because I know the theme ahead of time. I'm going to do this sequence, and then I get to the rattle or whatever it might be and be like, my intuition is saying, rattle is not next. You got to do the small wind gong. Like, all righty, we'll do the small wind gong. I'm like, okay, so how should I play the small wind gong? Because there's, again, now I have all these techniques I have to choose, and they're like, you know, who are they?
Your
They
guides.
say, the guides, my guides are saying, all right, go over each person and play in this way, or play it very gently. We don't need, not the shaker. The shaker was too abrasive for that moment. We want something, though I'm saying gong, which sounds abrasive, just play it very gently for each person, right? That's the piece that you need to tap into at the same time. And I think that to be a highly proficient sound healing practitioner, you need to have both.
Absolutely.
You have to have both. You have to understand the science. You have to understand the protocols.
Yes.
Which vibrations, which hertz speak specifically to the different parts of the body, right?
Yes.
Right? And the different chakras, the energy centers, or which two instruments or two sounds together are going to shake things up and get things to move them along, right?
Yeah.
And once that happens, what are you going to do to bring back in that balance, that relaxation? Yeah, so one of
It's a gift.
my biggest pet peeves, if I can say,
Please. Yeah.
is to, like, at the end of a sound healing session. I've been to many sessions, and just having somebody that would play all of the crystal singing bowls at once as like the grand finale. This is one of my biggest pet peeves, because I've had people like, oh, I went to the session and I just didn't feel very good afterwards. I'm like, well, did they do the grand finale?
Oh, yeah.
Because what's happening when you do that is you're bringing in all of these intervals that are actually made to shake things up, as opposed to bringing in relaxation. So if you end with these dissonant sounds that are happening all at once, of course, you're going to feel uncomfortable at the end.
Competing energies.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I feel that. And you certainly have a way, sincerely. My nervous system, I remember I got to go downtown to see you.
Yeah.
The space name is eluding me, but feel free to share. It was downtown. Anyhow, it was lovely. And you had your entire repertoire there, and quite a gang. You always have a nice amount of group members. I didn't know anyone intentionally, a couple people I ran into, but at the end, I felt out of body. And like you had sincerely taken me on a journey, and I was expecting to relax. I wasn't expecting to go on a journey. I was pleasantly surprised, and I think that your ability to tune into people and to see what is going to serve in that day is so important, because we may come in with the idea that we want abundance, and then hopefully, I'm sure, you see a group of folks who are dysregulated and you're like, okay. It'll be very abundant if we can just get out of dorsal. And anyway, is that the goal? Dorsal? Yeah, polyvagal's lost in me. I just know I don't want to be in the middle, right? But anyhow, I think that you do a beautiful job. And since we're talking about the tools in your tool belt, I think that it would be a great time to mention that you are teaching facilitators how to do these things intentionally, to make sure that maybe there is a day you can come and not have to witness the grand finale, right?
Yeah, I do teach how to do the sound baths and how to do one-on-one sessions as well. So do certification workshops and teaching that process that I'm going through. It's a no-fail process, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And then, teaching to 6 different instruments. And what I love about the teaching piece is really watching the students move from that first day walking in, and inevitably I'll have someone say, I've never touched any of these instruments before. I'm really nervous.
Aww.
Like, it's all right. I've got your back. I assume that nobody's done anything with any instrument at any time in their life. It's really that stepping, that beginner level. And this is a mallet. This is a mallet. This is a crystal singing bowl. This is how you hit it, and this is where this instrument came from, and the history and all of that. So
important.
It is to understand it. Again, that thinking about my time when in Japan, and like being able to study the culture and the history and being immersed in it, and then being able to bring that into the music. I think that piece is so important.
It is
in teaching
so
as well.
important. It is vital, even because I want folks to understand the difference in the caliber. And I'm sure that there are naturals that come to you and you have them start right away and they're off sprinting, and like the great educator that you are, I'm sure you're like, go and do the beautiful work, right?
Yes.
And also, I think it's great that you're ensuring that these folks have a foundation of the science behind it, the reverence of why we use these instruments in the way that we do, and then the tools to know when to pull them out and when not. And we think about these things from a fundamental, like, duh, but no, not all teachers are created equally, as I have learned the hard way, across many different levels of education. And to me, I think when you're dealing with the nervous system and then the intuitive body, ooh, the subtleties are just that much trickier now, aren't they, to catch in order to know if you are garnering a skill set that maybe the world needs.
Right. Exactly.
Or maybe you're best suited for something a little different, and that's okay too. But do you notice that with your students, that you have naturals like other things, or do you find this more technique based?
Oh, that's a great question. My firm belief is that if someone practices, that they'll be able to master all the instruments. The instruments are not that difficult to play.
Wonderful. That's good news.
They're not that difficult, but there are some challenges like that you might not think of. Like I had one of my students, she's like, I just can't get my crystal singing bowls to play. I just got them and I'm playing and I can't understand. I'm like, do you have them on the carpet? She's like, oh yeah. I said, okay, let's raise them up a little bit off the carpet. We can get these things, and she's like, they're playing. Like, okay. So like those are kind of little things that kind of fun.
Yeah. Did you turn it off and turn it back on? But it's those tricks of the trade, though, that aren't so aware for all of us. And I bring up the did you turn it off and turn it back on because we all can joke that we're tech wizards when we know how to power the machine off and it comes back and it magically works.
Right.
But it is the subtleties, going back to that we have to be more aware of in order to become the sound healer that people seek out. And I know that people seek you out because people be like, Molly Adkins? Oh yeah, I know Molly Adkins. Oh yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, and I think talking about those subtleties, and just something came to mind.
Yeah.
It's like using tuning forks for a one-on-one session, right?
Yes.
So there are different protocols that you can use where you bring the tuning forks close to around the ears. And just bringing those in a certain order of intervals around the ears 3 to 5 times and can bring in incredible transformation for your clients. And that can actually be pretty tricky too.
I'm sure.
And use like tapping the instruments. So when you're activating the tuning forks, so, are you going to use the soft mallet, boom, boom, and just to activate? Or as I've seen some of my beginning students tap the instrument together really hard right over the face of the client and be like, so that's kind of the opposite effect of what we're trying to get, right? So really thinking about those little things that can be big things, learning to turn away. And if you're going to tap them together, and that's totally fine, but they don't have to be a big hit, right, to activate the sound.
I like the tuning forks too, and I feel like I have a couple cheat codes because I have had the pleasure of being in on your solo sessions, but what I want folks to know at home is that these one-on-one things can be done online as well, right?
Yes.
You can do one-on-one trainings and sessions so long as folks have these tools with them, right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I do lots of online trainings and sessions as well. Yeah. And it's just a matter of having the instrument if you're practicing on the other end. When I do one-on-one sessions or group sessions, when you're the receiver. So just like a sound bath, I've done online sound baths before. The clients have to just be just like they would be if they were in the same room. They have the yoga mat or the blanket or on their bed or whatever it is, and just allowing themselves to relax. And I'm doing the work from this end. So much like other energy work or Reiki and that type of thing, if we talk about long distance Reiki, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can understand that. Like, but sound, can you do that too? It's like, it's all energy. It's all the same energy, the same vibration. So I've done one-on-one sessions with my clients on the other end in a Zoom call, and I have them table, like a massage table, where they would, if they were in person, they'd be laying there.
Right.
But they're at home, and I work around the table as if they're right there in my room. I can still hear the energy and how their energy is shifting based on what I'm using with the instruments that I'm using, as if they're right there in the room.
Yes, and I can affirm to listeners, not that you need it because she's trustworthy in her own right, but it is true and it is palpable. You can feel the differences when Molly is working virtually. It is virtually no different. Pardon the pun. Couldn't help it. But it sincerely isn't, and I think that it's really important for folks to know too that you make this an approachable modality, whether they want to receive as a client in that capacity or they want to study under you. You do have this entire skill set and toolkit that you can offer to folks. And so one question I could already anticipate would be, do you help students pick out equipment? Because that's huge, right? Because whenever we start something in America, we need to go buy the things about it
Right.
in order to get it
Yes.
started. So
Yes, I do help. And I
Great.
actually tell my students when they come to a workshop, if they're not 100% sure what they need or want, don't buy anything until after the workshop.
good.
Because I go over, like, why do you want the 432 hertz crystal singing bowls as opposed to 440 hertz or not? I mean,
Yeah.
which one do you want? And
What's the
why,
difference?
right?
Yeah.
Why do you want this brand as opposed to that brand? Or, what are you listening for when you, like, order a Tibetan singing bowl offline and you have no idea and you get it and you're like, okay, it doesn't sound like I thought it was going to, but I don't know if it's good or not, right?
I've been here.
So I explain how to listen to the instruments, and that's actually key for
Sure.
being a practitioner, is learning how to listen.
Oh, you bring up an excellent question. Do you play by ear?
Yeah.
I just think about my kiddo. He plays by
Yeah.
ear, which is a blessing and a curse,
Yes.
especially for folks who need to read music, right?
Right.
But I think you would almost have to have some awareness of what you're listening for, right?
Yes, there is a lot of improv. I mean, improv in that sense. So
Okay.
I'm not, but it's a different type of improv than you would think in Western music. Like Western music, like, okay, I'm going to go from this chord to that chord, and I'm working within this parameter,
Okay.
but not so much with sound healing.
Yeah, there's a resonance, right?
So I'm working with intervals for specific outcomes.
Aha. Okay.
And then I'm listening to the instruments and how they're interacting with the energy of the one-on-one person or with the group energy.
Oh, wow.
So that I have
Yeah.
like my crystal singing bowls, I think about, especially at the beginning of a session, I almost always play crystal singing bowls. And I'm always listening to how they are resonating and interacting with the group right from the very beginning. So my ear is very tuned in.
I
that
would
way.
say.
And so there are times when I'd be like, oh, wow, my e-bowl is really resonating to me.
Yeah.
There's somebody or several people in this group that are needing this bowl.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll play a little bit more on that one. Or e-bowl. Then I'm going through all the things like, okay, e-bowl, it's associated with the solar plexus. Solar plexus is then associated with
Yeah.
with stepping into your power. Okay, what other instruments, what other intervals do I know that can help with supporting that concept, that thing with that I'm hearing through the vibrations.
Yeah.
I'm doing that in
Incredible.
group sessions, like always listening to, I'm listening to my guides, of course.
Absolutely.
And time to move on to the next instrument. But I'm also listening how the vibrations are interacting with the group. Like sometimes I'll play a Tibetan bowl, like, I don't know why it's not playing, like it's not as vibrant today. Maybe it's just not the one for today.
Yeah. For that one client or
Yeah.
the one group. Such great awareness, though, because, again, there's not language for all of the things
Right.
that we're trying to convey to the audience today. But the experience of what you're offering doesn't require us to understand these technicalities, thankfully.
Right.
And also, I think it's so important for those who are drawn into this field to be practitioners and to be able to hold that container that you're describing with such reverence, because that's a skill all by itself too, Molly, my goodness. And then to notice whether or not I would have never associated the sound of a bowl being attributed to someone's field. I would have always been like, well, it's that bowl again, and it's Susie again today, so it must be this bowl doesn't like Susie. I would have never thought their field needs something different, and such an easier way to just say it out loud. And we need that awareness.
Yes.
Because there are so many different groups of different types of clients in the city, right? We have combat veterans, we have, and that's a population that you're familiar with. We also have new moms, which I don't know, but I would imagine most new moms don't need a startle of any kind, right?
I guess not.
And they're probably not. And so just knowing your audience is key too, but knowing who to study from is paramount. And that is one of the reasons that we're here today, is to let people know about the depth of your background, about what it is that you're offering, and how they can get in touch with you. And just, I could talk to you for weeks. We've already known that this is a problem. So what I want to make sure is that folks understand maybe a couple client avatars. I'm going out of the box. I'm going away from our yoga teachers, and you're all my great friends, so I'm grateful that you're here. But outside of yoga teachers, there are other modalities that can add these gifts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm right now thinking of play therapists, but like there's so many. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking about all of my students that I've had so far, and I have therapists, mental therapists, and I'm thinking about someone who works with children in particular, and how she was like, yeah, I just laid out the tuning forks and they picked up, and then when I went back and checked with its intervals, they were picking up. It was specific for what that kid was working on.
Wow.
And it was just like, kids are just so intuitive. They
are.
know. Right? So yes, therapists. You can also add it on to like massage, because the instruments can be used on the body as well as off the body. So it can be a way to get people into that relaxed state, but then also to help with the muscle release, any tension release. Reiki masters, any type of energetic work, holistic practitioner. I have a beautician who is using sound instruments in their sessions as well.
Well, they're the first therapists, in my opinion.
Yes.
Frontline therapy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, just going in, and I've even experienced that, laying back, the conditioner in my hair, and just close your eyes, and like playing the Tibetan bowl, and I'm like, what is going on right now?
That's so great. That's so great. Give me a heads up next time, guys. Not what I signed up for today. I love that. But I think to both of our points, you can sincerely implement these as a parent.
Yes.
Yes. And what a skill set for your kiddo's nervous system. And gosh, Molly, I need to get signed up with you for certifications, but to know which tool to pick up. And I love what you said. I think sometimes as a parent, one of the things that is so important is just having X, Y, or Z available for your kiddo. And that includes musical instruments and outlets. And if you just have tuning forks laying around for elementary type kiddos, they're probably going to be a little more bold than your middle schoolers or their high schoolers, and really probably teach you something, would you say?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And what I love about the instruments and sound healing, the practice of sound healing, is that it's not talk therapy.
Thank you.
So you don't have to say anything when you come to a session with me or with a sound healing practitioner. I can hear where the stuck energy is through the vibrations. And I can do a very similar type of release that someone might have if they have been to talk therapy, or if someone's feeling like talk therapy just doesn't work for me. I'll just try this. Try vibrational therapy, right?
Yes.
So it can be very, very effective. If you have kids who are unable to express the way that they're feeling, and then using, I keep coming back to tuning forks, but it's because they're so easy and that they're lightweight. You could take them anywhere. I carry one of my tuning forks with me all the time because I'm just like, okay, a little bit of a headache today. Let's take care of that.
That's curious because that is the one thing I would have thought wouldn't be helpful.
headaches.
Yeah, because of the raising of the energy to the head, but you find it really helpful.
Oh, it's amazing. You can bring that. It's a very grounding feeling.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
depending on where you place it, under
Yeah.
the skull, on the crown of the head.
Very important differences.
Yes.
I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Raising the energy, maybe dropping it down.
Yeah.
And it's those nuances, I think. What a gift that you're here, that you can teach people these things, firstly. And secondly, thank you for learning them. Because it takes a lot of the yes and in order to get people to understand what it is exactly that you're doing. And I appreciate that we've had the opportunity to talk about individual one-on-one sessions, because as an energy practitioner, professional, if you will, this is something that is not yet in my toolkit, and I hope one day, because I can see the efficacy of it, and actually we'll talk more about this offline, but I've been using the voice in different chakra systems. I'm like, ooh, what is happening? Why am I doing this? I should talk to Molly. And I've had really great feedback of, I don't know what you were singing, or if you that was just extra and I need to pay for that, but not really. But I've been given feedback that, wow, that really did take the stagnation or whatever that was that we were experiencing and lifted it. And
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And what a gift that we have it within us, most of us who are lucky enough to have the voice as a vehicle, and learn how to use it. In my favorite course that we did together, because I do want to be vocal trained someday in both Italian operetta and probably not, but I enjoy singing. My neighbors know it, and just bringing that voice to an area of intention, especially the throat. We're in America, people. Yes, you need it in the throat, and knowing how to keep it there and to intentionally focus here. Molly, you have so many gifts in your toolkit. It's just incredible. Yeah.
What I love about the voice as a sound healing instrument is that it's economical.
Amen.
It's portable.
Yes.
It's always with us, right? But it's so effective.
Yes.
It's extremely effective, and you don't have to be a singer. And when people say oh, I really want to take singing lessons from you, I don't really teach singing.
Yeah.
But I teach you how to use your voice for chanting or vocal toning, and how to create a vibrant voice.
Yes.
Not a beautiful voice.
Which a vibrant voice can be pretty beautiful, right?
It can be.
And there are different types and styles.
Yeah.
But what a gift to be taught how to use your voice. And I have to ask this question because for a friend.
Yes.
I have heard, oh, I think you're a musician. You're probably going to have a vocal activation. What up with that? What is your take on people having energetic ceremonies for voice activation? Have you heard of this?
I haven't.
You have not? No. I don't know enough about it to be educated to know if it is something to be encouraged or needed, or I'm not sure. However, I think what you're talking about in terms of, well, I don't really teach lessons to be beautiful or be a pop star. I teach vibrancy, though, and I teach you how to be in your resonance. That, to me, sounds like vocal activation. Would you not agree?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teaching
Yes.
you how to activate your
Yes.
own vocal cords and where your strengths are. And I still just hate the idea that I'm an alto, but you'll let me know someday. So who knows? But it's
That's
really
funny.
cool. I was like, no, I'm not. Yeah, you are. I think it's really cool. And I think that another thing to notice, we can take that voice and we can take the point of inflection and we can make our voice carry when we're hollering at a kiddo across the house. Why couldn't we do that to send intention out, to protect our
Yes.
space?
Right?
Yeah. It's just incredible.
Yeah. What a great image.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Right, right.
Gold glitter everywhere. I could talk to you all day, and I won't. I will put you out of your misery, I promise. Molly, you have quite the skill set, and for folks who are interested in training with you, you do have some upcoming opportunities in the new year, yes?
Yes, yeah. I actually have February training, and a single instrument, so it's just the Tibetan singing bowls for 2 full days. So learning how to use multiple instruments, multiple bowls together, and that's all we're going to be doing. And then in March, I have a 3-day workshop with 6 instruments. So it is, again, the Tibetan singing bowls, crystal singing bowls, gongs, frame drum, tuning forks, and voice. So you get to learn all the basics, the foundations. Called it Foundations for all 6 instruments in March. And that's the level 1. And then in April, I have a level 2, which is if you're interested in becoming a practitioner of sound healing, then that would be the next step along the way.
That makes sense. So would you say that level 1 is for those who want to implement those practices for themselves, and level 2 is really stepping outside of that comfort zone?
Yeah, so level 1, absolutely for self-care and as an add-on or to integrate into the other modalities that we were talking about, like therapy or Reiki or massage and
so many.
The cosmetology, whatever. So as an add-on or for self-care.
Okay.
And then the level 2 is the whole gamut of information where you really learn how to sequence and go beyond just relaxation.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a ride.
Yeah.
There's several ways that folks can learn from you, and that's exciting. And also, you do group facilitation work, so you are for hire, the Sound Maven, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Molly is here online in Colorado Springs. You frequent different areas. I've seen establishments host you several different times, and I just cannot recommend her enough. I hope that for folks at home who are considering attending a sound bath or a sound healing workshop in the near future, that you know where to go. For a recommend if you can't make it in session or virtually. And for trainings, most definitely, Molly, you would be my go-to person, absolutely. And perhaps I'll see one of you guys in March, because these are tools that I've been meaning to get in my toolkit as well. But without further ado, Molly, thank you so much for being here today and for riding this wave with me of CCC and tapping into it with me all the time outside of in the studio. And we will look forward to having you back in the near term to see how things are going locally. And until next time, folks, make sure you hit the links below, check out Molly Adkins, the Sound Maven, and stay tuned for ways to connect with her further in the future.
Thank you so much, Ravyn.
Thanks, Molly. Thank you. Bye, guys.